During our very first class meeting, our professors gave us some words of advice. Don't get married, don't get pregnant, don't get sick, you won't really have time for a job, and tell your significant other that you won't have time for them this year because you'll be too busy. I was a little overwhelmed. Could it really be so intense? What can I do during this year that could help me? Here are some of my tips for future students that will be going through similar experiences of student teaching. We started classes in the summer, and here I started to make new friends in my cohort. My tip: it's important to start making friends and making connections. This year would have definitely been harder if I had to go through it alone. With friends, you can collaborate and bounce ideas off of one another. They are my support system because they are going through the exact same thing. In the fall, we started our methods classes, where we learned how to create lesson plans for worthwhile activities. We learned how to look at the standards and plan a lesson that would be engaging. We also learned how to teach English language learners using sentence frames and front-loading information. My tip: take a good look at lots of examples. Looking at good examples helps me to see what I still needed to do to make my lesson plans better. We also started our first placement, and I began to observe my cooperating teacher. My tip: take good notes and write down what your cooperating teacher says. I learned so much from observing my cooperating teacher and listening to how she gave directions or how she asked questions. She not only asked yes or no questions, but she often asked open-ended questions to get the students really thinking. She was explicit in her directions, and every single student was held to the same expectations and no less. In my notebook, I wrote down the things that she said because she always phrased it in such a perfect way. Clear and concise. Toward the end of the fall quarter, I taught my first lesson, breaking apart numbers. I had thought this lesson over and over and prepared for every scenario that could possibly happen. In the end, it still didn't turn out as I had expected. I felt like I did some things well, but there was still lots of space for improvement. Debriefing with my cooperating teacher helped me a lot, and I was able to reflect and think through what I did well and what I could have done better. My tip: always take the time to reflect on each lesson that you do. Reflection is so critical for us as student teachers to look back upon a lesson and think about what we could do next time to make it better. In the spring, we all got mixed up and put into a different placement. The first grade classroom that I was placed in was a complete 180-degree turn from the third grade classroom that I just came from. It was time for me to take all the things that I learned from my first placement and really make it my own in this new classroom. Something that I learned from this placement was that one strategy that worked well in one classroom might not be as effective in another classroom. My tip: try out different strategies. Student teaching is really the time to learn and test out different things. Having the opportunity to try different things allowed me to see which strategies I liked and preferred and which ones worked well. I've learned a great deal this year, and it was amazing how fast the year flew by. Sometimes I feel like I just got started in this program, and I think that I still have so much more to learn. But here we are at the end of the year. I started out as a teacher's aide in the classroom, but now I feel empowered with the tools that I need to be a teacher in my own classroom. I'm excited to keep learning and growing, and I can't wait to start off the year with my own class of students.